Let's pull out the dictionary and see what it says about the word God. A being conceived as the perfect, omnipotent, omniscient, originator and ruler of the universe. The principal object of faith and worship in monotheistic religions. The force, effect, or a manifestation or aspect of this being. A being of supernatural powers or attributes, believed in and worshipped by a people, especially a male deity, thought to control some part of nature or reality. An image of a supernatural being, an idol, one that is worshipped, idealized or followed, etc. So now we know the interpretation of the word God. What it doesn't say is whether or not God is benevolent or malevolent. To some people, what I am going to discuss with you is a very volatile subject. It is without a doubt, many people, a highly charged emotive topic. Before I begin, I want to say that whatever faith you believe in, I respect that belief. I may not agree, but I do respect your free choice. Throughout my teens and early 20s, I checked out many religions and found them all to be lacking in what I required. What I need to say now at this point of the video is that there are those of us who have strong personal beliefs, as strong as wearing blinkers and seeing and believing nothing else. If you are this kind of person, this video is not for you. Please turn it off and leave. People wearing blinkers, like a racehorse, will not see anything around them. Only people with an honest, open mind are welcome to this discussion. The word God is now reminiscent of a bygone age, an age of gods and goddesses suited in armour, wielding a sword and shield. The era they were in depicted the reason for their dress. The ancient inhabitants caused wars in the quest for power and domination. It became clear after studying the different faiths in realizing that humans need a relationship with what we now know as the supernatural. Human nature requires us to fear the unknown and a need to talk to ourselves about our problems. In character, we can be good, kind, or brutal. Putting faith in a fellow human is challenging. Thus, man created for both the minds of men and women beautiful gods. An invitation, welcome to come and pray to the God you prefer. Great statues then erected to worship so you could see and feel the presence of your gods. Religious communities then established to monitor the temples with priests and religious hierarchy. The people were not praying to a lump of stone, but to themselves in meditation, relieving the pain of their problems. These statues acted like stone psychiatrists. One of the significant tribes at that time decided that this was wrong and that humankind was worshipping idols. There then began a god reformation and the introduction of a single supernatural god. The devastation following was unique and bloody. Worldly kings and their kingdoms felt threatened and wreaked death and destruction upon this new faith created by men. The lead up to a Messiah of the original God led to even more death and destruction. Then at the beginning of the AD, the supposed Messiah appeared. Then the sacrificial syndrome theory to save the human race based on adoration and then crucifixion were established. Now, curious though it may seem, all this written and compiled by editors 500 years later, as the church became more dominant. Today we can see this theory in action in politics. Many new leaders arrive on the scene in jubilation and go out in misery. It is clear to the many that faith is something that you can personally believe in. The first religions of our time lead back 15 centuries and beyond. Our main fragmented history is only approximately 3,000 years old, not even a pinprick on the Earth's timescale. Who created the text now known as the Holy Books? What do we know is that they were written and compiled by men. As far as we can tell, women were not involved, or if they were, then written out. The compilers of these books were human, religious, male scholars and editors. These administrators, entirely biased by their hierarchy, would mould and interpret the words from a bygone age. So men wrote these books that are now described as holy. Men, like you or me, fallible in their labours, guided by fallible men on a higher level, engrossed in control and power. This one God's supernatural power then ruled by fear, putting to death those that challenged its faith. The Grand Inquisition travelled through countries, slaughtering all who disagreed with their doctrine. The foundation of these religions, built on sand, are now slowly dissipating. Being logical, let us picture this scenario. A huge rock that can destroy all is heading towards the earth. If we all pray to God, that will stop it. I think not. An atomic weapon deployed to explode over your city. If we all pray to God, that will stop it. I think not. If dinosaurs could pray to God, would that have prevented the extinction 60 million years ago? I think not. Here, the single God philosophy does not work. So how could it have worked in ancient times? The population followed the one God because of the mythology and fiction stories of the past. Shades of Marvel comics in 10th centuries, we will believe that Superman existed. In my earlier years, I found myself following a faith manipulated, distorted, translated and created from the minds of men. The strangest thing is, I did find something in 1963. Taken in my sleep, I was to witness an aircraft crashing on a Scottish moor without any loss of life. It was proof for me, and only me, that in our physical brains there is a quantum energy essence. This energy is unseen and unmonitored, just as radio signals over a century ago. I can honestly say that in the future, much that we now call the supernatural is to be revealed. It may be that the God we worship today is really that quantum essence of the mind in every human vessel. The link is to a metaphysical internet web that can take us into the past or future. We can only witness a glimpse of this web. Before we are allowed full entry, we need to advance in our mindset to a higher level. Please go to robinghoward.co.uk and have a look at my new book, The Magical Theory of Life. Thanks for listening. Bye.